What's up, Carolina fans? You are listening to the Carolina Sports Update with Neil Curtis. I am your host, Neil Curtis. Today we got quite a bit to talk about. The Carolina Panthers suffered their best loss of the season. It's a weird thing to say, but looking at that game, a lot to be proud of despite the loss. UNC North Carolina Tar Heels a little less lucky in the football world. And then going to follow up with some more ACC football, look at some ACC basketball in the Carolinas, a little SEC stuff with South Carolina as well. And I got a couple other things to throw in there, some Carolina Hurricanes, and even talk a real quick little tidbit shout out to our soccer team there in Charlotte, the Charlotte FC, after their season came to a close a couple weeks ago. Forgot to shout them out last week. Let's stick with us here. The Carolina Sports Update on IE Sports Radio, your direct source for all that is sports.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Carolina Sports Update. Neil Curtis with you, and we're talking a lot today. I got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about our professional teams here in the Carolinas, North Carolina, looking at the Carolina Panthers, take a quick look at the Carolina Hurricanes, what they've done, and our check-in on the Charlotte Hornets as well, to see how that's going there. And they kind of close it out with a quick shout out to the Charlotte FC making the playoffs this year, and how they ended up their season as well. So let's get into it. Talk a little bit about your Carolina Panthers, my Carolina Panthers as well. Really tough but very promising game for the Panthers this weekend. Granted, they went down to the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions, but the way they went down this time, I gotta say a lot for them. A great, hard fought. There we go. I can talk. Promise. Game for them. Saw a lot of great improvement out of Bryce Young. If you tuned in last week and listened to me then, if you've managed to make your way over, look up my other podcast, One Fan's Opinion. You know that coming into this, I was not big on the Bryce Young train. I was not riding that bus anywhere, but saw a lot of improvement, and that's for me to say a lot out of Bryce Young this game. He really showed a lot of poise. He made some amazing throws, dropped some real times in there, a couple of ones that went right where they needed to be. And again, similar to the game against the Giants, I felt a couple of those passes went in well for the receiver. Receiver did not come down with them like they really should have. There's a dime to Xavier Legette again in this game. And this one dropped it. Legette was streaking up the sideline, dropped it right into him, dropped right in and right through Legette's hands, right through his arms, hit the ground, drop pass. You gotta make that catch, right? That's what you get paid NFL pro money for. Legette's gotta make that catch. He admitted to as much afterwards. Some post-game pressers talked about how that was definitely a throw and a miss that was on him. So anyway, saw Carolina get down early to Kansas City, fought back. First half got, I think it was 3, maybe 4 red zone appearances, came away with the 3 field goals for 9 points. Really a little bit disappointed there. A couple of them in particular that if Carolina had just punched it in, this would have been a whole different conversation, I think. But it was what we've done to Kansas City. You always say like, oh yeah, if Carolina scored on this second drive when they only scored a field goal, if they scored a touchdown, that would have been enough points for the game. But you don't know what scoring that touchdown would have done to Kansas City, if it would have fired them up a little more, if being able to hold them to field goals there early in the game kind of shifted the mentality, how locked in the Kansas City defense was going forward from that. So who knows how that would have turned out, but definitely affected, I think, the mentality of the Panthers, knowing that, hey, we could get down here, we can get into the red zone, and if we need to, we can score against this team, against very good Kansas City defense. And I think you definitely saw that in the second half. I saw Carolina really battle back. Went in third quarter down 20-9. 11 points is only 2 touchdowns, but it looks a lot bigger, I think, than it actually is. You see that there's 20 points and single-digit points on the other side. Kind of think it's a bigger gap than it really is. Carolina didn't let that get to him. Bryce Young didn't let that get to him. And they really hung in there, battled it back. Even when they got a really good stop against Kansas City. I think it was back-to-back sacks against Mahomes that really drove Kansas City out of field goal range. They had driven down the field. They got him easily within field goal range, and then penalty, and then back-to-back sacks on Mahomes, pushed Kansas City back well out of field goal range, forced the punt. And then Carolina goes out there and doesn't do very much with it. Ends up with their punting for the second time in the game. Didn't make a lot of it, but again, the defense got right back into it. Stopped Kansas City again. Got the forced the punt for Kansas City. Carolina then managed to take the ball down. A couple of really great plays. I think a fourth down conversion coming down the field. And you saw Carolina with the touchdown and going to their bread and butter. Chuba Hubbard got the push in for that 2-point conversion, tied it up. But unfortunately, you give Mahomes, I think, anything more than a minute on the clock, and you're kind of asking for it at that point. But Mahomes just did, what we've come to expect of him. I'm sure for fans in attendance, which looking around at the video, looking around at the game, a lot of red. But even for Panthers fans, I think this was an exciting game to have been there for. A lot of fun to watch your team come back. And then as much as it sucks that we had to take the L for it, really dynamic performance from Mahomes, what you've come to expect of him, and what he's been able to do for his career since he really came in, and how well he's been able to play over the course of his career, and looking like Kansas City looking again like one of the top teams, if not the top team in the league. But again, Carolina Panthers battled with them for 4 quarters, forced them into a game-winning field goal as time expired. I think it's only a matter of time before the team really starts to come together. One of the things I've really liked over the past 4 weeks, I got the 2 wins, got the bye week, and then got this very hard-fought game, is some of these young players we've seen coming in. I've said before, the tight end Ja'Tavion Sanders, man, really like that guy. Really hoping he's doing okay. Had a really scary incident where he went over a defender and landed on his neck. You can see him cocked the head to the side, twisted weird. But sounds like from some of the updates today, it isn't a serious thing. So hopefully it's just a minor neck injury. Tweaked it maybe a little bit, kind of like, when you twist it the wrong way sometimes, but hopefully it's something that won't affect him long term, something he can kind of come back from pretty quickly, and we'll be able to see him back out on the field sooner rather than later, because, man, that guy's just been making plays. We talked earlier about Leggett dropping that one that, went right through his arms. Sanders had an amazing play, I thought, where he went up where Bryce Young was being blitzed, and he had to drop back and had to get that ball out, kind of floated it out a little bit. I feel like in times past, you see that Bryce Young back foot heave, a little bit of a floater, and, there's been times where that's gone up and it's been picked off pretty quickly. And, seeing that happen really got really nervous, heart stopped, thought, oh, here we go, here comes the pick. And no, Ja'Tavion Sanders goes up and just grabs that ball out of the air. Got a defender draped on him, fighting him for it. Probably pass interference, really. But then not for Sanders. Dude grabbed it, pulled it in, and great play. Great heads up play on his part. Dude, super physical. And I think the more we go on, the more experience and more time he gets out there in the field, the better that dude's just going to get. I think we've got a real stud right there at tight end. I think kind of put him in there with Tommy Tremble, who's kind of a bowling ball, great blocker, but also it's got good hands. Seen him in the past in the end zone, pull off some really great catches. And I think we got two really good tight ends. And honestly, and hopefully, in my opinion, maybe I've seen the last of Ian Thomas and that wild deal that he got 2 years ago. I feel like he's played in like 4 games since he got that deal. So not saying I'm looking forward to seeing him on his way out. You never want to see, players like it's their livelihood, it's what they do for a living, see them get shown the door. But when you're not performing, you're drawing a nice paycheck to do it and not perform. Yeah, you're not going to draw a lot of love from the fans, I don't think, man. So just overall, in the end, I felt really I don't want to say a great loss because no loss is great. They all suck. But if you're going to lose, man, and I've told family, I've told friends this, if you're going to lose, at least lose fighting, man. Go down like swinging. And I felt like that's exactly what the Panthers did this year, or what they've started doing this year, actually. Yeah, sure. But what they really did this game, and I thought Bryce Young looked really, really good, really decisive. Some great dump offs when he needed to, moved around when he needed to, broke off a couple really good runs for first downs, and really just his ball placement and his quick reaction, his decisiveness with the ball really impressed me this time. I have not seen a lot of that from him. Did not see a lot last season. I think I missed the Green Bay game, but some of the highlights I saw from that was, kind of displayed some of that last year. But outside of that game, you didn't see a lot of it. You certainly didn't see it in his first 2 games this season. And so being able to see it more and more each of these last really 3 games over the last 4 weeks, but the last 3 games, really good to see him coming on and having a much improved, much more decisive kind of game this time around. So good on Bryce Young. Good on the Panthers for sticking with it and fighting. Got Tampa Bay next week. It's going to be a 4:00 game, and I think it's going to be a really good one. Tampa Bay's been playing really well this year. Baker Mayfield playing really well. I really liked him. I think I said this before. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he played well for Cleveland. I was excited when the Panthers picked him up. I thought we kind of moved away from him faster than we really should have. I thought he was a better quarterback than what his short time at Carolina showed. But really happy to see what he's able to do. He's not playing the Panthers there in Tampa. Here in Tampa, well, sort of here in Tampa. Being in Tampa myself, really excited, happy for the Buccaneers again when they're not playing the Panthers to see what he can do for them. But I think it's going to be a good game next week. I think we're getting some good pieces back on defense. I saw they got 5 sacks against Mahomes, first team to do that this year. I've said before, trying to tackle that dude, trying to get him down, period, much less behind the line, is insanely difficult. And for Carolina to do it 5 times, that was a great move on their part. Great play on their part. I got DJ Wonnum healthy now, coming off the edge, showing why Carolina went after him. I feel like he's going to be another really good player. The more he goes along, the more he gets integrated with this defense, the better he's going to show out. Clowney had a couple really good, had some really good plays in this game. Got to Mahomes as well. So, and then J.C. Horn with that amazing cornerback sack coming off the edge, just sneaking in there, taking Mahomes down real quick. Some really great play calling. And I think that's probably one of the other things that I think is really I've really been encouraged by from this team over the last couple of weeks, and even watching over this season is watching Canales on the sideline. And you watch that guy on the sideline. If you watch Matt Rule on the sideline, like especially his first year, but even into his 3rd year, kind of like there were times he just didn't look like he knew what he wanted to do next. He wasn't sure about what to do next. And you watch Canales on the sideline, and that guy seems to always be calm. He's always in control. He's taking his time. you saw that, the touchdown late, and they were getting ready for the 2-point. Drew pulled to within 2 points, and Cameron goes over Canales, and the guy just looks like, yep, that's why we drew up that way. That's why we ran that play. Like, nothing seemed to surprise him in this game, and he's just so calm. He's got such a great demeanor on the sideline, and that just lets me know the guy is coming in with a game plan. He knows what he wants to do. He knows how he wants to run it, and he knows how to roll with punches and like adjust on the fly and make changes. And I think you saw that today, especially. But I've kind of noticed it a little bit throughout the season. I've seen and read from people like kind of questioning, especially like first down play calls, occasional fourth down play calls, and I think that's kind of him like learning and feeling his way. The offensive coordinator is kind of learning, feeling their way, and I think you'll probably see kind of like he takes some chances that maybe you won't have, but and then as they go along, I think you'll see better play calling in those situations if you feel that's been a challenge for them. But honestly, I think the way he's coaching them, the way he's like getting this team together, I really like what I've seen from him and seen from these Panthers, especially over the last 3 weeks. I think we've got an exciting few weeks to close out this season here as we head into December. I think we've got a decent shot against Tampa Bay next week. It's going to be at Carolina, so excited to see how that turns out. And who knows, maybe cross my fingers, I'll have a good shot, some good seats for the Carolina game when they come down to Tampa. Maybe Carolina gets to play spoiler and kind of mess with Tampa's playoff hopes. We'll see. But let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit here. Kind of head over to our Carolina Hurricanes and talk a little bit about them, where they're at and how things are going for their season. We've seen some really good stuff from them, I feel like. And but I think this last week was a little bit more difficult for them as we saw them lose to the Columbus Blue Jackets here recently. Saw another really hard, like a hard fought contest. So you're talking about losses that were hard fought. This is definitely one of them. The Carolina Hurricanes kind of going back and forth with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Somebody in their division, somebody you think they probably were really hoping they could have gotten a game in on, but it wasn't to be. And so they end up falling to the Blue Jackets there, 5-4 in the shootout. Kind of a back and forth type of game where you saw. Let's see. Sorry, I'm still trying to get my way here. All right, here we go. This is what we want. Beauty. Okay, saw a nice back and forth game. Carolina really, again, like I said, fought hard. Got down early, but brought it back, tied it up in the third, or pulled ahead in the third, and we're up 4-3. I think we talked before, like this Hurricanes team, they are a high scoring team. Most of their games are, you see it, the score in the Hurricanes column is going to be 4 points, which for a hockey team is pretty crazy. And a lot of times when you're scoring that many points, you're going to be winning those games. And so you look back over the Carolina, the Hurricanes schedule, look back over their games this season so far, see a lot of W's, and a lot of those W's are with 4 goals or more. Typically, if they've lost the game, it's because they scored less than 4. Whenever they're scoring 4 or more, they're putting up that W. But it wasn't so this time. They battled back. They got the 4th point in the second period, but then it took it into the third period, and all the way into almost the 19th minute there in the third period. Columbus finally scored, tied it up at 4-4, took it into overtime, made it through overtime, went into penalty shots, and Columbus pulled out the hard win against Carolina at Columbus and got the 5-4 win off penalty shots. Another thing unfortunate from this, Carolina's goalie, I'm going to butcher the poor guy's name, But Kochetkov is now in concussion protocol. Really unfortunate for him. Really unfortunate for the Canes. They've already got one goalie sidelined right now with injury. So losing another goalie to concussion protocol indefinitely the way they just did definitely is going to be painful for them. So not a great moment for the Hurricanes. Hopefully they can get some play out of their third string, I guess, as they come back to Charlotte this weekend, actually tonight. They'll be playing against the Dallas Stars this evening at 7 p.m. Should be another good game there. A lot of fun to watch them go back and forth. Hockey's a great game, great sport there. A lot of back and forth, really high tempo. If you're a soccer fan, I think it's even better. I'm a big soccer fan. I love it. Love the sport. But you look at hockey, and it's like, let's take all the craziest elements of soccer, throw it on some ice, and add in some fighting too. So if you like boxing, if you like soccer, tune in. Check out your Carolina Hurricanes tonight against the Dallas Stars. I don't know why exactly I always kind of personally have a thing against the Dallas Stars. I don't know what that is, but it'd be great to see Carolina kind of bash those guys in on home ice and pull up with another dub, maybe another 4-2 win there back in Raleigh. So if you got it, if you got the time, not doing much tonight, tune in, watch the Hurricanes take on the Dallas Stars. All right, let's switch gears again. Let's take a look at your Charlotte Hornets. Another team, another Carolina team, and another unfortunate loss. This one also. What is this? What is it? Oh, what's up this weekend? What's in the water here? These hard-fought losses from our Carolina sports team. Charlotte Hornets went up against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think if I remember correctly, the Bucks are leading the NBA right now. They're one of the top teams in the league. So really, let's see, where are they? No, they're not. They're number 6, but still they're up there. 8 and 9 overall. Definitely vulnerable though for the Hornets, but LaMelo Ball with his best game. First Hornets player with 50 points, career high for him. And also for his fellow teammate, let's see if I get this right, Ball and Miller, only the 4th NBA duo, here I'm just pulling this off ESPN, that were 23 or younger to score 30-plus points in consecutive games. So, again, another hard loss for one of the Carolina teams. Saw Charlotte had pulled to within, 121 to 119. And looking for a comeback win against the Bucks. Unfortunately, a couple missed three-pointers and a couple of free throws from the Bucks pushed it out to 125 to 119 final score. But really, again, another game where I think a positive youth movement for this team helped to make it a competitive game. You see these two guys can definitely be looked at, I think, as potential cornerstones for this team moving forward. Obviously, LaMelo Ball, that guy is an NBA superstar. In the way, it's just going to be a matter of is Charlotte able to keep him around? If you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, so you're certainly hoping they can. If they do, and they can keep Miller around too. So really looking forward to seeing how that team continues to grow this season. Hopefully not as many hard-fought close losses as there are hard-fought close wins. But their next match will be against the Orlando Magic in Charlotte, also tonight, also at 7 p.m. So if you're trying to decide between hockey or basketball, my preference would probably be the hockey match. Go for the hockey game, but if you're a big basketball fan, you've got an all-star superstar there to watch, and Ball to watch there, and a lot of fun. Also, a lot of high octane, high fast-paced action there. Unfortunately, for that game, they will be without Grant Williams. Kind of look at at the stat sheet, kind of that consummate man type of player. So, in all 16 games this season, I think he's started 7 of those. He's 6 for average points per game. He ranked 6. Really, just kind of one of those steady hands that really helps out. Provide that a team needs to keep them in games, keep them hard fought. But unfortunately for him, in the fourth quarter, driving to the basket, kind of tore just about every ligament, sounds like, in his knee. He could tear ACL, MCL, and associated ligaments to go along with those. So that's going to be a long road of recovery for him. He is definitely out for the season, which is going to be another hit to this team. But going to have to turn to some other players and look for that kind of jolt off the bench, that player who could come in and start when one of your other stars needs a rest for a game or two, and really help carry your team for a little while. They're definitely going to miss, I think, Grant Williams and what he's been able to bring to the team this season. So there you go. That's kind of our wrap up. Well, it took us about 25, 30 minutes to do a quick wrap up there for some pro sports teams, the action that we're seeing from them. Like I said, I wanted to give a shout out to Charlotte FC. Really want to get into talking a little bit more about them. Excited to see what they could do next season. I think this was their 3rd season, and they were in the playoffs. Again, story of being a Carolina fan, hard-fought playoff loss against Orlando FC. It was a 3-game series. Went all 3 games. Game 2, they drew even with them. I think it was 0-0 to force a game 3. Game 3, drew even again, 1-1. Went again into a shootout. Tell me if you've heard the story, within the last 10 minutes. And went into a shootout for penalty kicks, and unfortunately, Charlotte was not able to convert on the penalty kicks. Orlando beat them out. Orlando advanced in the playoffs. This again a couple weeks ago, but did want to give the Charlotte FC a shout out and their due, because they have been playing incredibly well. Off to a hot start, I think, in Charlotte. I am excited to get back to Carolina one day, get into Charlotte to go check out some FC games. Take my son. He's a huge soccer fan, although he's more of a Miami and Messi guy. But hopefully I could kind of get him into those Charlotte games, kind of get him fired up for the FC, fired up for the crown, and we can see some of those games there. All right, folks, that's going to kind of wrap us up here for our or look at our pro teams. Let's take a quick break, and we will talk a quick break to hear about some of our other IE sports teams, and afterwards we will start to get into some college sports. All right, y'all.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, y'all, welcome back to Carolina Sports Update. Right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. All right, let's get into some college sports now. We're going to start off with my personal favorite, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Got the Peppers Pizza t-shirt on today, representing one of my favorite places that used to be down on Franklin Street, no longer there. One of the first places I ate as a freshman, last place I ate as a graduate. Unfortunately, they are no longer with us, but I still love some good old Peppers Pizza. All right, let's talk a little bit college. We're going to be trying out some different formats the next couple of weeks, especially right now while we've got football and basketball going on. I want to see how the flow goes with this. Today, I'm going to try to hit each of the teams in a row, talk a little bit about each of their main sports, and we'll see how that goes. If I don't like it, if y'all don't like it, if you want to stick with one sport and then we'll transition to another sport, or if I figure that's probably a better way to handle it in the future, then we'll switch it up. But today, let's talk a little bit. Kick it off with the University of North Carolina. The North Carolina Tar Heels unfortunately, I said last week, UNC football should be able to handle Boston College. Boston College, I think, was 5-6, 2-3 in the ACC. Thought we had a good chance again, or they're 5-5, 2-3 ACC. I thought we had a good chance against them. That was not the case. Uncharacteristically poor. I told you I could talk. Performance from Omarion Hampton. I don't know if he just wasn't given the ball as often as you would have normally seen. Some really poor play I felt from North Carolina defense. So definite miscues. So a lot of penalties. Really sloppy play throughout this game. Just watch him give up some easy shots from Boston College. Carolina football ends up going down 21-41 to BC. Not what you want to see at all, especially to close out the season, especially when you really want to kind of make that statement that the beginning of the season was aberration and that you are working to get better at what you're doing. So I'm sorry. Well, come on, dude. Got my dog here with me. Sweet dude, but hungry for attention for some reason right at the moment. So anyway, not what you want to see from Carolina against Boston College. So unfortunately, took the L on that one by a large margin. Even with the 21 points, 14 of those, 2 touchdowns by Gase. Great freshman, a lot of promise there. I don't know where Carolina or how Carolina continues to get these running backs. But they seem to follow up one running back with another tremendous running back, and Gase, no exception to that rule. So great player, but honestly, his 2 touchdowns there in the fourth quarter kind of came too little too late in garbage time. I think Boston College was probably playing a little bit of a softer defense at that point. And Carolina able to sneak out 14 points. Didn't look quite as bad as the game actually was. So, unfortunately for them, again, this one, not a hard-fought loss. This one's just a straight-up L for the Carolina football team. But next week, I think will be next week, close out the season against NC State. Looking at, a 3:30 p.m. game time against North Carolina State Wolfpack. Really holding my breath for this one. NC State has had our number for the past several seasons now. Seem to have Mac Brown's number. I have to go back and check, but I don't think Mac Brown has beat State since he came back to UNC. It freaking sucks for Carolina fans. It would be nice for UNC, I think, to be able to get this win against NC State at UNC to close out the season. Try it on a high note, and then start getting ready in the offseason. Start try to get back in this fight for this recruiting battle. Just saw a thing earlier today. UNC incoming recruiting class ranks well below several smaller schools like ECU, FAU, others, some of whom don't even have coaches. And UNC's incoming or next recruiting class is well below them. So I really hope we can get back out onto the recruiting trail, start getting some star recruits in, and really get this thing turned around and going in the right direction again. Bring in a quarterback. Criswell has performed well when he's been on, but he's been a little too inconsistent, a little too hit and miss. Like I said, when he's on, he's played well. I wouldn't say he's tremendous. He's not someone that I'd be excited, confident and comfortable to have the ball in his hands in a tight game. So if we end up in a tight game with State next week, I'm not going to feel easy. I'm going to be very uneasy with Criswell trying to lead the game-winning drive. Do I think he can't do it? No, but I just won't feel as good as, say, having a Drake May, who, I know he lost twice to them, but having someone of that caliber, Sam Howell, who, a little bit more steady, I think, under pressure. So Let's take a quick look at UNC men's basketball. Beat Hawaii a couple days ago, 87-69. Sort of an expected result there. Playing out there as kind of a warm-up before the Maui Invitational gets started. UNC's been playing pretty well this season so far, although they did start off, I think, 8th. They lost the one game to Kansas, a really tight game, battled back from behind, heartbreaking loss there. But even with that one loss and then a couple wins since then, have slipped in the polls from 8th. They're down to 12th now. So one of the things that I've noticed with this team, and I've heard it mentioned a couple times in some of these games, is they seem to lack the traditional big presence that they've had underneath. And they've had a couple guys kind of come in and step up, play reasonably well. You've got Withers has played really well down low at a post for them, but and been able to ring in some those rebounds. Golly, that pulling some good rebounds, but overall, not really what you would expect from UNC in the big picture. So take a quick look at some of their team stats from the year. 39 rebounds per game. That is tied for 109th in the nation. That is not where you expect to see Carolina basketball to be. You really expect to see them up there in the single digits, like second or third in the nation, because they typically have two very strong centers or power forwards down low that can pull in those boards. So not seeing that so far this year, which means they are relying a lot more on their ability to shoot the ball, which can come and go, as we all know. And so that really kind of gives some pause for concern. For me, they don't have as reliable, as dependable a down low presence as they've had in the past. So really hoping to see a couple of those guys turn up even more, start getting more aggressive underneath, and start to really block those out and get those boards and become that dependable, quick score presence under the basket that we've come used to seeing in Carolina. But we have seen some really good stuff. Alec Cadeau shooting the ball a lot better than he did last year, a lot more decisive as a point guard, leading the team down the court, a lot faster on their breaks. And I think that has helped with that as well. Seth Trimble coming back. I said it last time. Really excited when I saw him come out of the transfer portal, return to UNC. The guy is so dynamic, is so athletic. To have him back and have him playing the way he is has been phenomenal and really going to help this team out. I think, especially down the stretch, especially once we start getting into the tournament time at the end of this season. We got his dynamic athleticism, his ability to run the court, change things on the defensive side quickly, and get back on the offensive side and score points, and really kind of help switch when you need it, shift momentum in games, or if you're need to get that breakout and pull away. I think he's the type of player that can really set the tone for those situations. So really looking forward to Carolina in this Maui Invitational. They've got Dayton. That is tonight, late night, 11:30 p.m. So after you get done watching the Hurricanes or the Hornets, whichever you pick, be sure to take down a Red Bull and turn on the UNC game against Dayton for the Maui Invitational. His first game could be tough. Dayton's not an easy team. They are 5-0. They're never a pushover. They always fight hard. So it could be a really tight game. But getting past them, Carolina is probably we'll be looking at either, I think it's Missouri or UConn. They could be looking at UConn and real quick, and that could be a huge challenge. Again, early in the season, already faced Kansas, already really fought them hard. So another tough game for them to face, but gotta get past Dayton first. So here's hoping the Tar Heels can put on a strong game tonight, strong performance, and get past Dayton with the W. All right, shifting gears a little bit here. Let's talk a little bit about the Duke Blue Devils, also in their own early season tournament right now. They just took a nice W themselves. Give me just a second here as I get this up and running. There we go, Duke Blue Devils. First off, let's talk some college football. Blue Devils playing hard. I would say probably equal in talent, but definitely, I think probably playing a lot harder than the Tar Heels are right now in football. They got a really tough win against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Malik Murphy, their quarterback, 3 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. So, obviously we want to cut down on those types of mistakes with the interceptions, but 3 touchdowns, man, that's really good work there. Going to his fifth year senior, a couple of times to open up that game, get a quick early 14-0 lead, and then kind of continue to fight and grind, overcome a lot of mistakes and mental errors, but able to get the win against it's been a strong Virginia Tech team, but recently has been a little bit lower, kind of struggling to get through and kind of close out games for a win, Virginia Tech. But Duke able to fight, hang on, and get that W. They are already bowl eligible, but they've got Wake Forest up next to close out their season. As you see down there, that'll be happening this weekend as well. We'll expect Duke to take care of business against Wake Forest. Although I said that for UNC, so hopefully I didn't jinx the Blue Devils there with that. But I look forward to seeing them play this weekend at noon against Wake Forest, and watch them see where they end up landing for bowl season. All right, now for Duke college basketball, had a very impressive win against the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona, again, a team not one to be taken lightly. Duke went into Arizona following that loss to Kentucky. Went into Arizona and won pretty well, 69-55. They seem to have a pretty good freshman on their team over there. So got to keep an eye on them as the season goes on. Keep an eye on this kid and how he Cooper Flagg, how he progresses. Kentucky had a pretty nice game plan against him, but so we'll see how that translates going forward. Duke will have Kansas up next. They will be playing this weekend, tomorrow night, the 26th at 9 p.m. That is Terry's Chocolate Vegas Showdown. Okay. In Las Vegas, though, man, come on. That sounds like a lot of fun. We playing the number 1 team, Kansas. Duke, I think, is actually kind of favored in this game, which is interesting. But we'll see how that goes. If Kansas can come up with a similar game plan to what Kentucky did to shut down Cooper Flagg there at the end of there to close out the game. Keep it close, shut him down late in the game, and come away with the win. All right. Sorry, I am doing a terrible job at time management for this one. I probably spent way too much time talking about the Panthers, so I am going to have to learn to cut that back. But going forward, guys, I will get more and more into this, get a lot better at highlighting, just hitting the highlights and bringing you more teams and better content. But let's go from here. Let's talk a little bit about the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Day 2, heartbreaking, tough loss. That's the theme of this episode. Carolina, heartbreaking losses. To Georgia Tech. I hate Georgia Tech almost as much as I hate NC State. So I actually do feel kind of bad for State in this loss to the Yellow Jackets. But NC State, again, held in, fought through this game. Really strong defense through the first half. That way, if you heard this stat line, quarterback with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but this time losing. So CJ Bailey, quarterback for NC State, while Malik Murphy for Duke had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions and won the game. Bailey, 3 rushing touchdowns to his 3 interceptions. They end up dropping that game by 1 point. As time expired, they had a chance at a game-winning field goal for 58 yards. That's pretty long. It had the leg. Unfortunately for them, it was wide left. Missed the field goal and lost the game by a point. Really tough break for them. With the win, that would have made them bowl eligible. So now it comes down to next weekend against UNC and the Tar Heels to see if they can become bowl eligible. Again, that's going to be a great game. That's going to be I hope that is a straight up dogfight. I hope our defense comes ears pinned back and ready to play. I hope State is ready to throw down as well. I don't want, if UNC gets to win, I don't want to be like, oh, well, yeah, we had this and this guy out. So, of course, we weren't able to play well. I just want it to be a good, clean, hard-fought game and, see my Tar Heels come out on top. So, college basketball for NC State is going pretty well so far this season. Some good wins, mostly against some of what you expect for preseason opponents. Most recent win, 84-61. You can see that down there, William and Mary. But next up, they have got a game against number 13 Purdue. That should be a good challenge. If they can hang in there, if they can pull off a nice upset win, that'll be a great boost for them. Really kind of legitimize how their season's going so far. That will be on the 28th at 3 p.m. All these times are Eastern. I say that because right now I'm visiting family in San Antonio, so I had to do a lot of math to get these times set up. But 3 p.m., that's going to be in Eastern, but it will be in San Diego, California for the Rady Children's Invitational. Great time to be watching sports right now. Great time to be watching college basketball. You got all these invitationals going, more teams. You got a great opportunity to mix up some really top tier, top level contending teams together and get some great matchups that you normally just would not see. Again, some high-ranking teams that you probably normally wouldn't see until the end of the season. You wouldn't see until the tournament, and now here we are. Basketball is just getting going, just getting ramped up, and you got some really great teams matching up against each other. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here and set up our last little shot of teams. And we're probably going to bust our 1 hour mark, but I've been told I can do that if I want. So I think I'll bust the 1 hour mark here this one time and hopefully get my act together for our next episode next week. All right, I will cut out and talk to you guys in a few minutes.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your 5-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get into a couple of our last stretch here for a couple more teams. But before I do, make sure you check out those guys, hockey and Set Point, especially volleyball, man. So, fun fact: high school I went to, real small high school in North Carolina. I think we had 400 people in the entire high school, but we were one of the top volleyball schools in the state. My junior year, we went undefeated. They went undefeated throughout the whole season, went into the state playoffs. Fortunately, lost the championship game that year, but always really enjoyed watching volleyball. Really tremendous athletes, both sides are on that, and it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked out the sport, if you haven't checked out that podcast, make sure you tune in and look up your local college team, see how they're doing. I know UNC always feels a great team. We've had a top 25 women's volleyball team this season. So always a lot of fun at Carolina going to volleyball games. A lot of fun watching that. So make sure you tune in and check it out. All right, let's wrap it up here. We got 3 more teams to talk about here before I close it out. First up, Wake Forest. We talked about them earlier. They've maybe not as hard. Well, its final score doesn't look like exactly a hard-fought loss. Although, I mean, that's the theme of today's episode. So, yes, this was an actual hard-fought loss. Wake Forest hung in with Miami, one of the top teams in the nation. All the way up in the fourth quarter. Went into the fourth quarter, 14-20, a 6-point game. And then Cam Ward, Miami offense, kind of kicked it into gear, rattled off 3 scores, and that was it. As they say, Miami pulled away in the fourth quarter. Wake Forest ends up losing that one. Coach afterwards talked about, when you're playing hard like that, your defense is playing hard like that. And you're playing at a team like Miami that's got their kind of high octane again offense that can really just turn on when they need to. It's only a matter of time before that dam kind of breaks. And sometimes, when it does, and when your defense has been out there playing so hard for so long, when it finally does break, that's sometimes it. And it just kind of gushes over at that point. And I think that's what you saw with the Wake Forest game. Their defense really held them in there for as long as they could. They had for their opening drive, scored a touchdown. Their offense, they scored another touchdown in the second quarter off a kickoff return. And then after that, that was it. Offense couldn't put much together against Miami's defense. Miami's defense really won them that game, got them into the fourth quarter before the offense finally was able to wear out Wake Forest and just take over and turn it into what looks like a much more dominating score than I think the game actually was. So I'll give it a hard-fought loss for Wake Forest when all is said and done. Their next game, we've already mentioned this, next game is at Duke or versus Duke. That'll be at Wake Forest. That's this Saturday at noon. So be sure to check it out. Wake Forest basketball, kind of like NC State, playing well to start the season off. Maybe against some of those preseason teams that you expect them to play well against, but a nice 67-57 win against Detroit Mercy. Next up, though, the Puff team's in, and they played number 18 Florida in the ESPN Events Invitational in Orlando, Florida. It's only about an hour and a half for me. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it again, like I said, here in San Antonio for Thanksgiving with some family. So that'll be a good time for me here, but hopefully a good time for the Demon Deacons in Orlando as they play Florida on the 28th, 2:30. Should be a lot of fun. A good opportunity for, again, kind of like NC State, to kind of try see if they could sneak in a good win against a ranked team, boost their potential a little bit, maybe get them a little bit closer to a top 25 ranking themselves. As much as a rivalry as I feel every team in the ACC is for UNC, I do like to see as many ACC teams, especially North Carolina teams, in the top 25 as possible. I think it's awesome to see North Carolina-based college basketball teams there. I know the sport originated in Kansas, but I really think it grew up and matured in the Carolinas. I think North Carolina is a place for college basketball, and it always makes me happy to see more and more North Carolina college basketball teams there in the top 25. So let's hope they can get it done and take down number 18 Florida on the 20th. All right. Shifting gears a little bit, let's get back into a little bit of some college basketball or college football here. Looking at Clemson, I talked last week. I think they've been, on paper, their record definitely looking at kind of feeling a little bit more like the traditional Clemson team. I think 9-2 right now. A couple of losses by some other teams. I think Alabama being one of them really helps Clemson out with their opportunity for making the college football playoff. I think if they continue, they got one more game left. If they take care of business in that one more game, I think they've got a really good chance at making that playoff push. And once you get into the playoffs, who knows? Although I think kind of in the end, look at how they've played. The games have not been quite as dominant this week. Not that case, but also playing the Citadel. So 51-14 over the Citadel this week. Obviously, kind of what you would expect to see in that performance. The real kicker comes next week. We'll talk a little bit about this as well, I guess, with the next group here. Next group or next team here, the last team here, the South Carolina Gamecocks. They play South Carolina. Also playing well. Number 18 in the country, Clemson, I think right now is sitting at number 17. So number 17 and number 18 going head to head next week. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be like, if it wasn't for UNC State, I would definitely be. Actually, you know what? It's at noon. So I will definitely be tuning into this one. This one's going to be an amazing game. Back and forth, I bet you. The freshman coming on from South Carolina, really cranking up, really developing and maturing as the season's gone along. And looking forward to seeing how that game goes down next week or this weekend. And then follow that up with some good UNC, NC State action right after that. So make sure you're checking these games out. It's going to be an exciting weekend to finish off the college football season. All right. Clemson basketball. Also playing, getting their preseason games done. getting things taken care of how you would pretty much expect them to get things taken care of. They just played Radford and got the win there. Looks like 79-51. Yep, sorry. Next up is the San Francisco Dons. They will be playing them in the Daytona Beach. They'll be playing them in Daytona Beach for their invitational. There we go. Got it back. All right. The Sunshine Slam Beach Division, Daytona Beach, Florida. Should be an interesting game. A lot of fun. Clemson always seems to have a feisty team each season. This season doesn't seem to be any different. So we'll be looking forward to seeing them and how they turn up for that. All right, last team on the board here. We're talking about the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. Having a blast watching them as they've come on this season in football. A lot of really good key games, a lot of good takedowns that they've had. Now we'll see if they could do it again this Saturday against Clemson. Get the, I don't want to call it an upset win, but 18-17, technically that's upset win. And see what they could do to knock Clemson out of the playoff picture. I don't know that they will. This week played about how you have expected, 56-12 win over Wofford. And then men's basketball also kind of still in their preseason warm-ups. They win 84-72 over Mercer. A lot of, I think the team mentioned that they felt that they had been lacking a little bit of intensity in their previous games, really brought it on against Mercer, which is good that they are getting that back in place because they have got number 22 Xavier next tonight at 8:30 in Fort Myers. Nice little place south of Tampa. Just go check it out. Tip-off Beach for the Tip-off Beach Division Invitational. So, like I said, a lot of great invitationals, a lot of great college basketball going on right now. If you can, make sure you get out there, start watching some of these games. You can go out and check out some of these games. Unfortunately, if you're a Carolina fan, a little bit harder unless you're in Hawaii, but also still just as difficult. I think tickets for that one on Vivid Seats going for over $500, starting at $500 to check out UNC in Dayton. If you want to see Duke and who was it? I think Duke's next game, I think against Kansas is like $37 there in Vegas. I don't see how that's possible, but you can try to check those games out. Let me double check that. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do this. Duke versus Kansas City Jayhawks, T-Mobile Arena on the 26th at 6. Tickets on Vivid Seats as low as $34. Duke and Kansas for $34. So if you can, make sure you try to get over there. You might be in the nosebleeds. It might be better to watch them on the TV screen, but you could say you were there. And that should be an exciting game. A lot of fun. All right, y'all. I have bust my time in a big way, so let me get us out of here now. See if I cannot screw this up and get this show closed out. Thanks for joining me. I see I had a lot more comments and interactions. I will be doing my best to actually start getting into this, get into the comments, try to take it a little bit at a time, get my feet wet, and get it. The more I do it, the better I'll be able to multitask, and the better I'll be able to chat while I do this. As you can see, though, I've got a ton of sports to cover. I didn't even talk women's sports. Last time, I didn't even talk college basketball. So let's see how I can, if I can get this stuff under wraps. I'm just going to have to start hitting highlights and do a lot more interaction. I might petition for an extra half hour. We'll see. And we'll see how it goes from here. All right, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciate you all listening to the Carolina Sports Update right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Bye.